Next up on our racing will be the women's side of the collegiate varsities. This one also has 3 heats in it, and this is the SeaWorld Cal Cup. And our crews are at the stake boats, and we're about ready to get race number 4 started.
Down here at SeaWorld Cove, event number 4, Women's Collegiate Varsity A. Lane 1, Stanford University. Lane 2, Kansas State University. Lane 3, San Diego State University. Lane 4, Drexel University. Lane 5, LMU. Lane 6, Santa Clara University. We have alignment. We're waiting for the start. The starters acknowledging hands up by the coxswain and bow person, meaning that that particular crew is not ready to start. So right now in lane 2, Kansas State has their hand up. Attention and go. This is the start for event number 4, Women's Collegiate Varsity. Out of the blocks in lane 1, the Cardinal from Stanford University with a slight advantage. We're by the 100-meter breakage point. If there should be breakage, they would restart the race. But Stanford is your early leader in lane 1. Second spot, Kansas State. Wildcats about 4 seats down on your leader. Third position is Drexel. Drexel in lane 4. Fourth position, San Diego State, followed by Loyola Marymount and Santa Clara University. So it's Stanford on the shore side with about a half boat length advantage over Kansas State. The third spot is still the Dragons from Drexel University. That fourth position, San Diego State. Fifth, Loyola Marymount. And sixth is Santa Clara. So as we come to the 500-meter mark, it's Stanford with a half a boat advantage over Kansas State, who has a half a boat advantage over Drexel, who has a 2-seat advantage over San Diego State, who has a 1-seat advantage over Loyola Marymount, and Santa Clara is in the 6th position.
On the water is the Women's Collegiate Varsity A. This is the first of 3 lane assignments, and our current leader, Stanford University, in second position in lane number 2, Kansas State University out of Manhattan, Kansas. San Diego State is in lane number 3. Drexel is rowing out of lane number 4. In lane number 5, Loyola Marymount University, and lane 6, Santa Clara.
I noticed, Alan, that they're obviously having a little bit of trouble down at the start lining the crews up because they've already gone to a countdown start this morning. The crews in this race, in lane 1 is the Stanford lightweight women's crew. So far this season they've beaten the Wisconsin lightweights and beaten Cal's 3rd varsity, but they've lost to Princeton lightweights. In lane 2, Kansas State, they have no wins under their belt so far this year, but they've lost to Louisville, Central Florida, and Iowa. San Diego State are in a similar position. They have had 2 races and lost to Sacramento State and UCLA. Drexel have been doing some multi-lane racing on the East Coast, and they have wins over Villanova, LaSalle, Bucknell, Fordham, Marist, Delaware, Sacred Heart, and Lafayette. But they've gone down to Rutgers twice, and they've also gone down to St. Joseph's and Navy. Loyola Marymount out in lane 5. They have had a mixed bag of results so far in 2011. They've beaten UC Irvine, they've beaten Chapman and Long Beach State, but they've lost to UCLA and Orange Coast. And in lane 6, Santa Clara have had one competitive hit out this year. They've gone down to St. Mary's.
Across the front line, it looks like Drexel has moved up a little bit. They're out there in lane number 4. Still along the shoreline at Stanford University, their lightweight crew holding on to 3rd spot, Manhattan, Kansas State University, and San Diego State University. Out there in the middle of it all in lane 3, then to the far outside, Loyola Marymount and Santa Clara.
Alan, in lane 1, Stanford lightweights seem to be in the driving seat again, as we often see crews in lane 1 in these early heats. But the crew to look out for is the crew in lane 4, Drexel, who seem to be putting on a big push at this stage and challenging Kansas State for that second qualifying position for the grand final. It's 2 to the grand final, 2 to the petite, 2 to the 3rd level final.
Looks like our race is shaping up right now against between Stanford University along the shoreline and Drexel outside. Currently, Drexel is being challenged by Kansas State in lane number 2, and San Diego State University falling back just a bit. Then for bragging rights on the outside, Loyola Marymount and Santa Clara pretty tightly bunched, with Santa Clara trailing. Look in the middle, Drexel. Along the shoreline, Stanford University lightweight crew. And in the midst of it all, Kansas State has begun to put on a little bit of a push.
We're seeing some separation now between the first 3 crews in the race and the remaining 3 crews in the race. Stanford lightweights are hanging on grimly here, but they're being challenged very strongly by Kansas State. And Drexel out in lane 4 are still trying to push for that second slot.
Stanford University on the shoreline, clinging to a lead that they have held throughout. Off the start, they had almost a half-boat length lead, but slowly but surely, Kansas State has been chipping away at it, and on the outside, Drexel has dropped back a bit. So now it looks like it's shaping up between Kansas State and Stanford University along the shore, with Kansas on the move. Kansas State is in the middle in the dark jerseys and the white shell, and along the shoreline is Stanford, so those two will cruise along. It'll wait to see if Drexel can form a challenge on the outside. Drexel just had to make a major course adjustment as they bore outside to their lane and now had to come back. Kansas State has taken over the lead against Stanford along the shoreline, and here comes San Diego State in the middle, possibly too little too late. Kansas State on the lead by about 4 seats. And then Stanford University on the outside. It is Drexel with San Diego State pushing on them a little bit, but it looks like unofficially now it'll be 1-2 Stanford, check that, Kansas State and Stanford, our second petite final, as once again Drexel has had a course correction as they have moved all the way into the lane that is occupied by San Diego State University, and we'll have to see how that works out. Loyola Marymount is also pushed in a lane, and all the way on the outside is Santa Clara. So it looks like jumping up on that 3rd position was Drexel, with San Diego State coming in 4th. Both of those crews having a little bit of problems with their lane assignments as they move from 1,000 meters on in. Once again, the unofficial order of finish is Kansas State University 1, Stanford University 2, followed by Drexel, and then San Diego State University. Just a quick note on our official finishes here in race number 1, the men's collegiate varsity. British Columbia 1, University of California Irvine 2, Fordham 3, Purdue 4, Orange Coast College 5th, Sonoma 6th, and Long Beach State was in 7th spot. The second event, the men's collegiate varsity B, it was Notre Dame, UCLA, Sacramento State, Bates, UC Santa Barbara, University of California, Davis, and Loyola. We're about ready to go here for the second heat in this women's collegiate varsity A. Making a quick note that there'll be a mass today. That'll be Sunday, I'm assuming, at 5:30 in the evening in front of the Notre Dame tent. Check that. That'll be this afternoon. Those in attendance are welcome. Notre Dame tent, mass at 5:30.
Flight line at the San Diego Zoo Safari Park. Are you game? Get closer to the animals. Photo Caravan Safari at the San Diego Zoo Safari Park. Are you game?
And we have a start for event number 5, Women's Collegiate Varsity. Lane 1, Sacramento State. Lane 2, University of Victoria. Lane 3, Georgetown University. Lane 4, UC Davis. Lane 5, Fordham University. And in lane 6, St. Mary's College. The racing starts have now shifted into the race pace. Your early lead, University